Afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar on improving project outcomes with accurate estimates using Autodesk Takeoff. My name is Ian MacArthur. I'm an account manager here at SolidCAD, working on our AEC team with a focus on the Autodesk Construction Cloud line of products. With me is Chehwan, who's one of our technical consultants on the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. Before we dive into the product, I just want to do a little bit of an overview of who SolidCAD is and who we are and what we do. And along with that, pleased to announce that SolidCAD has earned its specialization in all of the products of the Autodesk Construction Cloud, from Autodesk Docs to Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro to the new Autodesk Takeoff and Autodesk Build products. Other than that, we are a platinum partner of all Autodesk products, specializing in architecture, engineering, construction, manufacturing, civil engineering. We're also a platinum partner of Bluebeam. But beyond that, we do offer a fair number of solutions, including CTC software, which are productivity tools for Revit and Civil 3D, V-Ray and Lumion for visualization tools, as well as some scanning such as Matterport and Leica 3D scanners. Again, these are the industries that we have expertise in, a large number of customers across the board in all of these different segments and industries. But what do we really do? So SolidCAD is all about helping our customers implement technologies and optimize their workflows. And we really look at that in three buckets, being design, manage, and share. How do you improve your design efficiency? How do you share that data amongst your team and make sure things are accessible everywhere? And how do you share that data with everybody involved in your projects? Some of the services we offer in the BIM and AEC space: training and implementations for things like Revit, BIM 360, and the Autodesk Construction Cloud, scan to BIM services, data management and collaboration services, as well as project and construction management through things like the Autodesk Construction Cloud. And with that, I'll hand it off to my colleague, Chehwan, who will be going through the Autodesk Takeoff product.
Thanks, Ian. Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick. I'm a civil engineer, and I have around 7 years of experience in the construction industry. I've worked mainly on construction sites, on the execution of projects. And along that, we had some tasks also to do quantity takeoffs, mainly for concrete. In addition to that, I do have experience in quantity takeoffs, like in the office, mainly on concrete and other finishing trades and items for BOQ, Bill of Quantities. Recently, I graduated from John Molson School of Business with a graduate diploma in business administration, and I'm currently working with SolidCAD as a technical consultant in the AEC industry. Now I'm going to start sharing my screen to show you Autodesk Takeoff. So as you can see, we are here on our homepage. On the top left corner, we have the product, which is the Autodesk Takeoff on the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform, or the ACC platform. Next to it, we have the project selector. This is where you can change projects or choose the project that you wish to work on. Now, before talking about packages and sheets and models, I'd like to first show you members and files. So I'm going to be starting with members. This is where you invite people to the project. So you can add members here to your project, enter their email address, and you can always assign companies or roles to them, any kind of role that you want. Then you have to choose whether this person is a project member or a project administrator. Now, as you can see, project administrator have a lot more permissions, and we're going to see that along the way. We're going to see a couple of examples. As you can see here, it's mentioned that you can create new projects as a project administrator. But again, we'll show you along the way some of the other permissions. Finally, we have the product access. This is where you can give this member additional access to other products, such as build, let's say. This is where you select those. So with Takeoff, usually it comes with docs. It's included with it. So one of those differences between project admins and a project member is the settings here. So if I am a project member, I won't be able to see that. Only project administrators can see that. And this is where you change or edit the information about the project. Now we're going to go to Files. Files is a common section or a common folder between different modules, such as on Takeoff. It's also found on Build. Mainly on Files, you have two main folders, Project Files and For the Field. So Project Files is a folder where you have all of the files related to the project, examples such as drawings, like design drawings or shop drawings. Any kind of documents such as specifications or contracts can be found here. Now, Project Files is only accessible by the project administrators. So project members cannot see this section here or this folder unless you give them access to it. So if I right click here, I can see permissions. This is where I can give permissions to specific members to have access to this folder. Basically, For the Field is another folder, another main folder, which is accessible by people or by the project members. So I can always add subfolders here. Let's say I want to add shop drawings. I can add that. And I can always use different functions such as renaming, uploading, downloading files, export, share, delete. You have many functions here. One of them I already mentioned is permissions, where you give permissions to specific members. Subscribe is another interesting feature. So when you click on subscribe, any changes that happen in that folder, you will automatically receive email notifications on that. Finally, we have submit for review and create transmittal. So submit for review is when you have submittals. Let's say to a consultant, you are submitting drawings or documents for them to approve. This is where you do it. Transmittals is kind of similar to share, but the difference is that this is more of an official way to send something to a specific member. So let's say you want to share a document with a member. This is where you do it kind of in an official way. Now, back on our homepage, I'd like to show you the recent sheets and models here on the left side. Let's say you come back from a vacation or even from your lunch break. This is where you can see your recent sheets and models that you've worked on. On the right side, you have recent Takeoff packages. So any recently created packages or updated ones can be found here. Now moving on to sheets and models. This is where you upload 2D sheets and 3D models. For the 2D sheets, whenever you upload files, it's going to ask you for the version set. So let's say you have a revision. It's going to be revision 1. So you're going to name that as revision 1. You're going to set the issuance date also. And you can add any tags that you'd like to add to that specific sheet. We're going to see that in a bit. You have the search bar here where you can search for any sheets that you want to find. And also you have this filter. You can filter by the version set and more importantly by the tag. Let's say I'm gonna look for structural tags. So any tag with structural can be found here. Any additional tags can be added. Let's say I want to add to this one. So it's on level 1. I want to add level 1. I'm going to edit this. So you can add that here and create on tag, create tag level 1. And when you save, it's going to show up here. Now, the next thing is 3D models. This is where you upload 3D models. It's from Revit. So as you can see, it's .rvt, it's Revit files, and we have 4 models in here. Now we're going to go to packages. There's a list of packages already created here. And basically, this is when you have, let's say you have 2 different teams working on 2 different quantity takeoffs. Let's say one of them is a team for concrete and the other is for MEP. You don't want to mix quantity takeoffs between the 2 teams. So you can create 2 packages or 2 different packages for those teams. Now, under settings, you can see at the beginning of the project, you have to choose between imperial and metric for the measurement system. And then you have the classification system, where you can see here we have master format, but you can always choose whatever format you want or classification system that you want. You always have the option to add another classification system here. And let's say one is master format, the other could be uniformat. So it's always doable here. This is also an interesting feature. You can export to Excel. So I can export this list to Excel and change or add, I might add subdivisions. So I'm gonna do it on Excel and re-import this into Takeoff. Now back to packages, I'm gonna create a new package. For this demo, I'm just gonna call it demo. So when you create a package and you click on it, it's going to take you right away to the sheets and models. So as you can see up on top, I have the package selected, demo. This is where I can change package if I want to. So I'm working on this package right now, and I can see 112 sheets and models. Again, you can use the search bar here to look for a specific sheet, or even easier, you can use the tags as we did earlier. So I'm going to look for structural again. I can see I have 7 sheets now. And if I want to select a sheet, I can do that right away. So I can bookmark this sheet. And when I do this, it's going to be on the top of the list here. Even if I remove the tag, it's going to stay on top. So let's say I'm back on 112 sheets and models. This bookmarked sheet is going to stay on top. So now that we are on our sheet, before moving on and showing you the takeoff types here, I would like to quickly mention that you have a set of tools over here, related to the view. Then this is the tool that you select, whether it's area, linear, and count. We'll see that in the takeoff types. We'll also see this tool, which is combine and cut out. Then you have the scale over here, where you can choose, or you can even calibrate based on the dimensions of the drawing. Then you have a quick measurement tool. And finally, you have the settings over here. Now, on the left side, you can see takeoff types. So I have 0 takeoff types because this is a new package. And I'm going to create a takeoff type. I'm going to start by doing some, let's say, a precast hollow core slab over here. I'm going to choose area as a tool. And for the classification, you can just go with the division, or you can go even more deep and choose subdivisions, precast concrete, structural, and precast concrete slabs. So the output, you can always change that, whether it's count or linear. I'm going to go with square feet. And here you can see there's secondary output, which I mentioned is the secondary classification that you can also use, whether it's the same classification, you can do that twice. And I will give you an example of how you can do that. So a real life story here is that when I was working on a construction site, it was a factory and a warehouse. So the slab or the concrete slab is a precast hollow core slab. So usually I used to do takeoffs for the area. because we used to install those slabs, and then we did the on-site cast and concrete for the topping above that slab. So I would use both area and the volume. So I can do that over here. I can add the secondary output. Classification, I'm just gonna choose concrete for now. And you can choose cubic yards, or let's say cubic feet for the volume. And you can always add the formula. So when you add the formula over here, it's gonna give you the formula. You can always change that formula. So now it gave me area times height. So it's the area from here, from the primary output, and it's the height. I can define that over here. So I'm gonna change this to inches, and I'm gonna go with 3. So now I can save this takeoff type, or I can either start right away with a takeoff, and it's gonna save over here automatically. So I'm just doing a portion of the slab over here, just to show you an example of both the area and volume. So when you have 4 corners selected, you can just click on enter, and you will have the area. You can always adjust that area that you've done. So yeah, I can move that here. So now I can see the area over here. I can see it also in here. Now, if I want to see the volume, so this is just the area. If I want to see the volume, then I'm going to click on inventory here on the bottom left corner. And as you can see on top, it's grouped by primary classification, which shows the area of the precast concrete. However, if I click on this and select secondary classification, it's going to show me the quantity in cubic feet, which is the volume. So this was just a quick example on concrete. I'm going to give other examples on the finishing or architectural side. So I'm going to change the sheet now. So again, we can go with tags, architectural, if I want to. So I'm going to go with this sheet. Again, takeoff types. Now, if you're working on concrete and you want to do also finishes, then you probably don't want to mix those together. So this is why I explained at the beginning that you have different packages to choose from here. And this is just for the purpose of the demo to show them together. So I'm going to create a new takeoff type. I'm going to give an example about tiling. So again, area, classification, you can search here for tiling. So as you can see, I can go into subdivisions. Let's say ceramic tiling. You can come back and change the name. And I'm going to start the takeoff. So I'm going to be showing 2 types of tiling here, because I want to show you how you can reassign a specific takeoff type if you, let's say, if you made a mistake or if any change order or variation order occurs. Then we're going to see that example too. I'm going to also show you how to combine 2 different takeoff types. So again, since I connected those, I can click on enter, or you can even double click on the last corner, and that's how you get the area. Another quick example here, I'm going to also go with tiling. I'm going to choose second one, tiling, and start takeoff. So if you made a mistake, you can adjust that later. And we can come back here and edit this. Now, as you can see, we have two different takeoffs, or one for ceramic tiling, one for quarry tiling. So basically what I want to do here is if a change order occurs, if I made a mistake, I can always change that. I want to assign or reassign this to another takeoff type. So this is where you do it. You have the inventory. So again, I'm going to go to primary classification here based on the tiling. So we have two types of tiling. I'm going to click on quarry tiling, and when I click on it in the inventory, it's going to show up here as selected. You can either reassign takeoff from here, or you can right click and reassign. It's going to give you the list of takeoffs that you already have. So I'm going to reassign this to ceramic and reassign. As you can see now, the total is here, all under ceramic tiling. So now when you select, you cannot select both. So I'm going to combine. I just want to show you the combine feature. It's the same thing, but the thing is, I don't want to select every single takeoff. So I want to do one selection. So here I select one and hold Control, select the other one, and click combine. So when I combine them, it's just now one selection with the total seen here. You can always also use the cutout. So for the cutout, let's say I want to use this again. So let's say this part over here, I want it as quarry tiling. So again, this part would be considered as a cutout. So over here, you can go with the cutout, and you will notice that the total over here, 1,579, is gonna be less by 64. And you're gonna see that when I click on cutout. So now it's 1,515. So if I move it, you can see that this has been cut out. And basically this is for the combine and cut out features. Now I'm gonna go and do another type or use another tool, linear. Let's try masonry. Again, classification, you can search for it. I'd like to choose linear feet over here and start the takeoff. So this is how you do linear. It's gonna add up whenever I add something on the drawing, it's gonna add over here in the total. So let's say I add this. So you have a total over here. And you can always just move them around, and you can also do an arc or an ellipse. This has keyboard shortcuts. So let's say you click on A, and you're going to see this line over here where you can do this and move it around to do an arc. So let's say you have a parapet and you want to do that same form, you can do that over here. Now we're going to go to sheets and models again. Or before doing that, let me show you again one more thing. It's the count. So I'm going to go with doors. Or let's say specifically wood doors. Change the color. You can change the size also, and then the shape size over here. So under classification, I'm going to go with doors. So it's openings, doors. I'm going to select wood doors. So for the count, it's going to give us a count of how many doors we have. So I an example here, wood doors. So let's say you have this, you're gonna do this. And as you can see, the count is increasing as I choose those doors on the drawing. Now, this was the example for 2D sheets. Now we're gonna move and see again under the demo package. We can filter. So we can filter by document type and 3D models. You can see we have 4 models here. I'm going to choose structural. Again, with the toolbar, you have view options here. So I'm going to adjust the view over here. And then in the middle, you have the quick measurement tool, a first-person mode where you can, it's like a video game. You are in first-person view, and you can move using the keyboard, move around from level, from one level to another, and just explore the 3D model. Next, we have the section box. This is where you can add X, Y, Z planes, sections. So I just want to give you an example here with the X plane. And this is where you can move things around depending on where you want that section to be. And again, it's always, you can change, the view of the section. And finally, we have this form clusters tool, which is really important. I'm going to show you how we can do takeoffs on this. So basically, this will break the model into different sections and pieces. We're going to see that in a few minutes. On the right side, we have some properties and settings that you can change. And now back on here on the left side, we're going to go to takeoff types again. Now for takeoff types, as you can see, I cannot select those because those are for 2D. So if you want to split those between 2 packages, you can do that. Just one for 2D package, one for 3D if you'd like to. And I'm going to go on create takeoff type again. As you can see, it's automatically selected on the BIM tool because this is used for the 3D. Now I'm going to start with another example of the concrete slab, but again, you can either create from here or even easier with 3D selecting the item that you want. So I selected the floor. As you can see, when I create takeoff type over here, it's going to automatically give me the name of that item. And this is generated from the Revit model. So whatever names you have on the Revit model would be generated here. You can always change that. So I can change that to roof concrete slab. Classification, just to simplify things, I'm going to go with concrete. Again, like I gave the example on 2D, I can do that over here. I want to see the area and I want to see a secondary output, which is the volume. So concrete, and I'm going to choose cubic feet. You can see that we're going to be able to see the area and the volume. When you click on start takeoff, it's going to show the number over here, and this is to confirm the takeoff. Now it's in red. We can change the color. You can always edit the name, the appearance again. So on the bottom left corner, again, going to the inventory based on primary classification, this is the roof concrete slab that we did right now. We have the area. As you can see, for the secondary classification, it's going to show us the roof concrete slab. It's going to show us the volume. So it's here. When you click into more details, you can see it over here. You can always export anything that you see over here in the inventory. You can export that to Excel. Now, another example we can do is columns. So whenever you click a column, you can just do that for one column, or I can do it for the rest of the columns, or let's say similar columns. So select all 16 by 16. That's going to highlight all of the columns on that model. So when I create takeoff type, let's say 16 by 16 columns. Again, concrete. Here you can choose count if you want, and do a secondary output of volume. So I'm gonna start takeoff. I'm gonna see the count. So we have 224 columns over here. Again, same thing with the inventory. If you want to see the volume, you're gonna go to inventory. You're gonna see the columns over here. So you have the count is 224, and this is the volume. Now to show you this form clusters here tool, which is very important, and when I click on it, as you can see, the model explodes or breaks into sections. So it's organized, like the columns are alone, walls. So if you are on an architectural model, then you're gonna see the wall, like the walls, yeah, or the windows or the doors. So every section by itself. Now I can give another example here. So since we have the columns that we already did on the model before breaking it, you can always hide that using this tool here. So it makes it easier for me to see other items. And again, you can move around however you like. So next I'm gonna do some takeoff for those columns. So when I click on one of them, it's gonna select all. I can select all and do that just to show you that you can split that anytime. So let's say you have two columns over here which have different heights. You can do that. For now, let's create takeoff type columns. Just gonna do count and start takeoff. So we have 10 columns over here. You can always remove those two if you want. So if you go to the inventory, we can see the 48-inch columns under the primary classification. So we have 10 columns over here. If you select one and it doesn't show, instead of scrolling, you can just right-click and review an inventory over here. So it's going to show you where it is. And you can delete that from here. I'm just going to hold Control and select the other one too. And I want to delete those two from the takeoff. So now I can rename, let's say this one to height 1, save. And I'm gonna select those two. I can create a takeoff type again, columns, height 2, let's say, with the count, and start takeoff. This is to confirm the takeoff, 2 columns with the second line. So basically, this is the 3D model. And this was the demo for Autodesk Takeoff. If you have any questions, please let us know in the chat. So Ian, back to you.
Thanks, Patrick. So right now, we don't have any questions in the chat. We'll give it a minute or two. If anybody has any questions, they can pop it in the Q&A portion of the webinar, or feel free just to post them in the chat log. So it doesn't look like anything is coming in. So we'll end the webinar a little bit early, give some people time back in their day. If any questions do come up, please feel free to reach out to your SolidCAD rep, to myself or to Patrick directly. And we'll be happy to answer any questions and help you out there. And with that, we'll wrap things up. Thank you very much for attending today's webinar. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.